morning. Today we have Edward with us, who is on a mission to help immigrants and first generation executives on how to rapidly accelerate their careers without sacrificing their lives. He is the CEO of Career Meets World, which is an online coaching platform, and is a startup advisor. Let's welcome Edward on 10 Minutes of Hiding Wisdom. Hi, Edward. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So, Edward, how's life during the pandemic?
Life's been good because I believe that we get to choose how we make every moment in life shine or suffer in it. And for me, it was just an opportunity to help as many people as possible, as well as take care of my own health and my family's health.
That's a very positive way to look at it. So, as in, like, that's definitely something that all of us could look and learn from, especially because all of us usually tend to focus on the negative side of things. So thank you for sharing us some with us some positivity. So Edward, can you tell us what got you into this, like helping people and everything? Can you tell us a little about your career journey, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, for whatever reason, I never understood why until recently, is I really love to help people since an early age, right? I think I was always the kid at the playground that helped people out, and I was always the person that was helping people with their homework. I'd be the first one to finish everything and then teach other people how to be successful. So that just kind of continued throughout my life. I never knew where it came from until recently. Unfortunately, my beloved grandmother passed away, but she was somebody who always loved to help people. All she ever wanted to do was give people everything, cook for people, support people, inspire people. And I realize now in reflection is that that's really in the core of my DNA and something that I just will continue doing for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter what element of life it's in. I always be willing to lend a hand, and for me, that's kind of what naturally sparked this idea of Career Meets World. I'd been in the corporate workspace for about 10 plus years. I went all the way from engineering to a senior sales leader at WeWork. And the truth is, throughout that period of time, the underlying foundation denominator was that I still loved helping people. And whether it was through mentoring, kind of volunteer work, or even leading people on my team, I wanted to make sure that they're successful in whatever success meant to them. So, kind of putting that all together, I started Career Meets World right before the pandemic hit. And then the pandemic hit, and you had this slew of people who unfortunately lost jobs without their control. And the truth is, they need a lot of support and help. So, timing is a huge part of any entrepreneurial journey. And I was fortunate to be there at a time when people needed help the most. They still need it today. And I will continue to help them because, like I said, it's just a part of my DNA.
Wow, so your grandmother, who must be looking over you, must be really proud. So, as in, like, thank you for actually doing so much for people who are hopeless because of the pandemic, and everyone's so busy in their lives that we tend to like stop and look around and actually realize that we can actually make a difference in someone's life. So, thank you so much, Edward, for actually extending a hand, especially in such a time of need. So, thank you for that.
Of course.
So, Edward, you've helped so many people with their journeys and everything. What's something that makes a person successful according to you, especially if they want to like maybe work in top company, maybe if they want to start their own company? What's something that people need to have in order to be successful at the end of the day, according to you?
I love the question because I think oftentimes people tend to almost overcomplicate it or try to over engineer it. But when we look at just people in general, life's about people. Life is about forming relationships with other people and then building cool things together. That's what Amazon did. That's what Google did. That's what Facebook did. You had smart, intelligent, thoughtful, charismatic people who came together and built a product. So for me, I was taught this notion that the product of relationships is leadership. And for me, I've kind of carried that on throughout my entire lives. That's what I teach other people, and that's just who I am today. So, my piece of advice for people is continue to build relationships because it doesn't matter if you're 10, 15, 25, 45 years old. Continue building relationships because those relationships will lead to so many new opportunities. They're going to lead to new communities, lead to more relationships. So, just keep building and just be genuine throughout the process. We need more people to be authentic, good, thoughtful, loving human beings, and that's going to get you a lot further in life.
And how do you build those relationships? That's another question. Like how, as in like, for instance, I don't know someone. I mean, reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, yes, that's another thing. But how do you build a meaningful relationship that could benefit us, our growth, and just our personal development?
Yeah. So I think if you let's remove technology for a second altogether. Imagine it doesn't exist. Think about how you'd form a relationship in a world where there's no internet, nothing else. People talk at bus stops, people talk at the supermarket, people would talk in the office, they'd grab coffee, they'd invite each other to different social settings. So if you apply that type of mentality in an online world, if you're sitting at home or if you're going back into the workplace, it's the same thing. It's just be genuine, be human. If you're reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, be like, look at their profile, see what they're interested in, see what nuggets you could garner. Maybe they worked at this company or they recently posted about a podcast or an article that they like. Tie something together. Use that as a hook. Find another hook and latch them together. Send them a message. Say, hey, I read your post about, I don't know, this recent trend in food, and I found this other post about food as well. I think you actually might be interested in it, and that's it. Don't expect anything in return right away. And not everyone's going to respond,
Okay.
right? Not everyone's intended to respond to you, but allow yourself to actually go out there and start building those relationships. And the last thing I'll really say is I've seen a lot of people throughout the pandemic playing a lot of defense. Go and start playing offense because that's the fastest way for you to start building those relationships that are going to lead to opportunities that will lead to more relationships. And then that cycle continues forever.
Yeah, I think one thing something that you said was very important is we stop need to start taking things personally because everyone's busy at the end of the day. Some people might not respond, and that's okay. We move on. We look for another opportunity. So I think the pandemic did teach me that sometimes you just need to like suck it up and just go and look at the next opportunity because life doesn't stop for anyone. You just need to go knock on the next door and see if someone opens. If they don't, move on to the next door. So I guess that's something that's very important. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And that's how you and I connected, right?
Yes, that's how you and I connected. That's very true. Thank you so much for doing this though. So Edward, can you like as a like yes, you mentioned about your online consulting platform which is Career Meets World. Can you tell us a little more about it? How have you been like coaching people? How has your experience been so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So, interestingly enough, to start any sort of online coaching practice, I'd recommend what I did in the sense that I went towards working with high ticket client, meaning people who are committed to longer term personal development or career coaching. So 12 plus weeks. It's the fastest way to drive revenue for your business, as well as the most impactful and transformational work that you could do. So for me, it was just starting out and building out that client rapport. From there, now I'm actually going to expand a lot of my services in terms of um, building out more online courses. So I currently have a mindset program that I built out. I'm going to be building out my own career coaching course that's just going to be self service. It'll allow me to serve more people, but then actually have shorter term live coaching calls with people. And I think 2022 will probably bring more group coaching once I stabilize that. But for now, for me, it's really there's two types of CEOs, right? There's the people that want to scale and grow and expand, and then there's the lifestyle CEO where you get to really help people and provide a service or a product, but it doesn't mean you want to create a unicorn type company. So for
Yeah.
me, it's really about helping as many people as I can, but also building in that freedom and time freedom and eventually financial freedom to do what I want.
Well, thank you so much, Edward. Thank you for sharing your journey, for sharing about your company specifically and how you're planning to grow it. Our time is up. It was a pleasure learning from you. And thank you so much for sharing so much positivity, which is especially needed in these days because of everything that's going on. Thank you so much, Edward. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me.